Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, you've been battling, and I've known at least a handful of people around town here in Lubbock. Some kind of bug that's just kicking people's butts. You think it's over, and then it comes back and gets you again. And you've been battling because you are the mighty Joe Yeager, and you're here. You showed up, and we're going to talk some Red Raider hoops because this is an exciting time. And Texas Tech has played an exciting brand of basketball this year. I thought it'd be a good time to go ahead and do the regular season wrap. Texas Tech finished 24-7 overall, top 10 in the country, 15-5 in the Big 12, solidly number 2 in the conference, and they're the only team to beat the conference champion Houston Cougars. What's your overall takeaway from the regular season? Because postseason is a completely different animal, but just this regular season we witnessed from Texas Tech.
Yeah, it's been as good a regular season as Texas Tech has ever had, period. Wow. Including the 2019 team. Yeah. Now, obviously, the 2019 team won the Big 12 title outright, and this team did not do that. However, the overall win totals and percentages are very, very similar. You have that spectacular, unbelievable win at Houston without Chapman, without McCaslin, without Kevin Overton. You still beat those guys on their home court. Snapped at, 33 game or 26
Yeah, it was 33
game home winning streak. You go on the road and beat Kansas, and I don't care what you say. Anytime you beat Kansas in the fog, that is, you've done something.
Yeah.
And the 2019 team did it.
Right.
And then on top of that, I think if you win one game in the Big 12 tournament, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. The 2019 team was a 3 seed. So, and in a lot of ways, that's the ultimate benchmark. This would be the first time in Tech history as a number 2 seed, and that's just an indicator of what this team has done during the regular season. They can wind up at a higher seed than the 2019 team. It's just been absolutely spectacular. Really.
Yeah, the final results should be listed and speak for themselves, but just the style of basketball as well, and some of the not like mathematical results, some of the eye test things, you can go back to math and say just offensively how good they've been. I mean, you had the Big 12 Player of the Year, JT Toppin, who was dominant. He's one of my favorite players to watch in Texas Tech athletics history, let's be honest. It's just that the season's still ongoing with the postseason, but he's been tremendous to watch. But then all the other guys around him, great three-point shooting, selfless basketball, the passing, the way they share the basketball is great. Had guys like Kerwin Walton, who's really stepped up. I love that you mentioned him in, I think, one of your recent Jaeger shots. I even asked McCaslin here recently about that, and he said, Kerwin Walton, people have asked, why has Walton come back? Why has Walton come back? And, why does he start? McCaslin said he may be the most consistent, and definitely one of the most consistent people he's ever known. And that's saying a lot. That if he has, a monster game, he's in the gym 3 times the next day. If he doesn't play very much and he has a bad game, he's in the gym 3 times, and he's one of the most coachable guys. So there's your answer on Kerwin Walton, and I love the fact that it's paid off for him and that you mentioned that. But there's so many stories. I mean, I love the way Elijah Hawkins has played, the perseverance, like you mentioned, that great win at Houston. You lose JT with a nonsense call. You lose McCaslin, who did a great job taking up for him. And the team responds and beats a team that's supposed to be unbeatable. By the way, nobody else beat them all season in the Big 12, but especially at home, and you do it. And they had the Kansas win, but so many moments of perseverance where they overcame adversity, and that's a big part. I know it's cliche, but sometimes cliches are because they're true. They are a real thing. And I just perseverance and overcoming adversity is such a big part of sports for me. And this team had it, as you would say, in spades. And just the offensive brand of basketball is just so fun to watch.
Yes, I mean, it's the classic inside-out team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to overstate the importance of having that, of not being a donut team.
Right.
Of having a legitimate inside threat, and man, what a threat Toppin is inside. He's just, at the college level, he's unstoppable one-on-one. I don't know if there is single defensive player or post player in college basketball that can shut him down for a game. Maybe you hold him to 17, 18 points if you're really good.
Or he's in foul trouble.
Or maybe he's in foul trouble. That has been a little bit of an issue. But I mean, that opens up those deadly shooters. I mean, you got 4 or 5 guys that can step out there and just bomb away. Even a guy like Hawkins, who's not a great 3-point shooter, is still hitting the low 30s, and you can't leave him alone.
Yeah,
you absolutely cannot. You've got the spacing of the floor. Those guys ringing around the outside. You've got Chapman in the middle, and you've got Darian Williams who can do a little bit inside and help out as well. So it's just a really difficult team to guard against. They share the ball extremely well. A very good passing team. Don't turn the ball over very much at all. And when you're a team that is as potent as Texas Tech is offensively, and you don't turn the ball over, that just makes you even tougher to guard because you're not giving up possessions. You're getting shots up instead, and you're making 48% of it or something like that. So, it's a real handful to deal with these guys, and I've enjoyed watching everybody struggle with this.
Yeah, and it is a struggle. Like, I mean, I could just imagine being an opposing coach. Like, you got to worry about, like you said, JT first of all, but Elijah is kind of, in a lot of ways, spearheads the offense. Chance McMillan, who I don't think we've mentioned yet. He's one of the guys we were talking about, but one of the most efficient players in all of college basketball. I talked to him yesterday, and he said it's just his routine has allowed him to be efficient. That he puts up 300 to 400 shots each session. And he has 2 sessions a day. He mixes in 3 points, 3-point shots, of course, floaters, mid-range, works on his drive, all that. So he does that twice a day. 600 to 800 shots a day of like intense training, not just going to the rec and putting up some shots. You know what I mean? And he's second team All Big 12. Yes. Darian Williams, first team All Big 12. Mr. Versatility. By the way, he's supposed to be healthy. Full go in terms of playing time for the Big 12 tournament. McCaslin said earlier this week, so that's good. But Christian Anderson is like the 7th guy we've mentioned. One of the best, made the All Big 12 freshman team. I think he was a legit candidate for freshman of the year. I don't think he was robbed or anything. But what an efficient player. I think that's the unselfishness, the quality of offensive players, but the efficiency. I think what you mentioned with not turning the ball over and their shooting percentages and how they all help each other and how it works together is just, that's how you have one of the best offenses in the country.
Yeah, I mean, this team has shooters, doesn't have gunners.
Yeah, right.
That's the difference. Yes. That's the difference between efficiency and inefficiency when it comes to scoring. These guys take good shots.
Yeah.
And you take good shots, your shooting percentage is going to go. Bad shots mean misses for the most part. And a lot of times, if you're shooting deep, it means very long rebounds, and you allow people to run out. If they get that defensive rebound, they're halfway out to midcourt already. Can get down on fast breaks. So, if you shoot the 3 as much as Tech does, you do need to be efficient. They definitely are that. And on top of that, going back a little bit to Elijah Hawkins, he leads the Big 12 in assists.
Yeah.
What more can you say? It's just the entire package. Basically, everything that you need to be absolutely outstanding on the offensive end, they've got it. And it's surprising that Tech is actually only 3rd or 4th in the Big 12 in scoring. I mean, I think Arizona may be number 1, but they're all pretty close.
Right.
But that's the deal. I mean, Texas Tech may not be the absolute highest scoring team in the Big 12, but they are probably the most efficient.
They got to be the most
efficient.
efficient.
And then defensively, Texas Tech is not bad.
Yeah.
They have their ups and downs a little bit, but overall they're quite acceptable on the defense. Then combined the pretty solid defense with what they're doing on offense, and they're pretty good on the board, by the way, plus 4.5 to 5, something like that. There's just not any real huge weaknesses you can focus on.
I think that's the key for me is that, like this team, its weakness is going to be interior defense. They've shored up their perimeter defense. I mean, compared to the beginning of the season, that was a real concern. Don't get me wrong, they're not elite in terms of perimeter defense, but they're much better. And Elijah Hawkins is part of that. Christian Anderson's part of that. Guys like Kevin Overton off the bench as well. But they are a very good rebounding team at times. Like, they didn't get pushed around by Houston in either game. Toppin is an elite offensive rebounder. So when Tech actually does miss, he gets it. It feels like half the time, and he's a threat to score immediately. So that's if you have to point to a fatal flaw, something that could stop them, in the NCAA tournament, it would be a really big physical team that could make really punish them in the paint inside. Now, Tech's plates, like I said, they haven't been pushed around by some big physical teams. Like there's not going to be. I know Houston isn't the tallest, but they're one of the longest teams, one of the most physical teams you're going to play year in and year out, really. But including this year, and Tech hung with them. That was not a problem. So. I don't know if there is a fatal flaw. I mean, I don't want to overhype, but Tech's a top 10 team, and one of the, like you said, maybe the best team you've seen in a regular season. So I'm very excited going into the postseason. We're gonna have a Big 12 preview. Of course, we'll have all kinds of written NCAA previews and stuff like that coming up. But for now, Mike, doing great stuff for you. Thank you all for watching, and until next time.